Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening. And let's have conversations about what truth is. Well, welcome back. It is Monday. It's been what a crazy day. Crazy day. We'll bring Tommy on to start with. Let's just go ahead and bring him in if we can, please. Let me just tell you about this week. This last week has been filled with pardons. It's been filled with, do we not have Tommy? Can we not grab Tommy? Okay, we'll wait till you can bring Tommy in. Tommy, I'll see you here in a second, hopefully. I dropped a bombshell last night at 8:30 at night. You're probably going to want to share this because some of you didn't see it. Actually, a vast majority of you did not see this. Yeah, it says if Joe runs for governor, he can't be late. Mod trend. Actually, that means I can be late. But I haven't decided yet. Although I might. The big thing that I want to talk about, if we can, is that am I fit to be governor of Colorado? I made this announcement, and I'm going to spend the next 10 days praying about it, finding out if this is what I need to be doing. And I said announcement I made earlier, we'll think about it for the next 10 days and come back after and decide on the 26th of December. Neither side has honored the people. I think I would like to hear what you think. Do I run for it all? Do I run for it all? Do I run for governor? Now, let me tell you what the reasons were, if I can, really quick, because I'm going to get into some other stuff. By the way, I do want to play a video for you of President Trump talking specifically about the sleaze bag, Jared Polis. You know, the one that took 110-year sentence of a man that injured nearly 12 people, killed 4 people illegally in the country, driving a truck. You've heard everything where they said, oh, it failed, to the guy had a habit or had he was perpetually in a state where he was doing unsafe things. Now, the jury heard the entire trial. This is a trial of a man in Colorado. This is not unlike many other cases in Colorado. We have another man in Douglas County. We'll talk about him in a second. But Jared Polis commuted the sentence of a man who murdered, right? I mean, let me compare it to another case that you're probably going to want to hear about. But he killed 4 people. 12 others were very, 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 very injured. When he was coming down the hill from I-70 and just basically plowed through, traffic came to a stop, plowed through, and just destroyed many, many vehicles. So he was sentenced to 110 years in prison, found guilty by a jury of his peers. That's what he says, right? That Tina Peters was found guilty by a jury of his peers. 110 years he was sentenced to. He swiftly comes in right after that and takes it from 110 years down to a 10-year sentence. Keep in mind, 4 people died. 12 people were brutally injured. And he shaved off 90% of that. Now, the 110 years that he was sentenced to was to be served concurrently. In Tina's case, she had some novel prosecutions, misdemeanors, a couple felonies, none of which have ever resulted in a sentence like the one that she got. And instead of making it so that they are served concurrently, Judge Matthew Barrett, this radical leftist sleaze bag piece of trash that stopped her from actually putting her defenses in place, denied 40 motions and said, you're not allowed to have any of this information in your case. That same judge didn't say, okay, we'll let you serve these concurrently. We're going to make it consecutive. So took misdemeanors, took felonies, and said, okay, after you serve one. Now, what this ends up essentially doing is making it so you have to serve a larger sentence. It actually makes it so that she has to serve a larger portion of the sentence. So maximum amount of pain to stop anyone from looking into election fraud in the future. They bullied her, and then they made her a political prisoner. So Sleazy Polis was talked about by President Trump today. And do we have that by any chance? Are we going to bring Tommy in, or are we not bringing Tommy in? Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Tommy. How are you?
How are you doing, sir?
Good. It's good to see you.
You as well.
It's Monday. You were one of the first people to hear about what I was going to do. I might do. I should say I might do, because I haven't decided. Although my brain goes to you need to, and then my other part of my brain says, please don't do it.
Now, I have not been asked for my advice, but I will dole it out freely. And I think you should do it purely based on, I think you're only happy when you're working. And I know that because I'm only happy when I'm working. Purely from an app, regardless of like, it's the right thing to do, just from what I do know about you, I've known you for about a year and a half. I think you go insane without meaningful work. I know that because I go insane without meaningful work. And I think you should do it for that reason above most. I think it's a toy you need to bite onto like a dog. And I think it's the right thing to do. You gravitate towards fighting. That is what you should do.
Well, I mean, I do gravitate towards fighting. That is absolutely true. And I think the reason why I gravitate towards fighting is I want to fight for what's right. I want to fight for the people. I want to fight for my brothers and sisters. I want to fight for the people in our country that are the most vulnerable. Right?
Teddy Roosevelt, by far and away, the best aspect of this life is working hard towards something worth working hard towards. Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like he's saying a whole lot, but it actually really is it's a powerful message, right?
It absolutely is. You don't want to work hard. You don't want to work hard towards something that you don't care about and no one else cares about. I'm going to stack toothpicks in a row. No, it's something that's meaningful, something that you can sink your teeth into, be it raising a family or philanthropy or running for governor. Yeah, no, it's to find something that you can work yourself to death to and do it. You're here anyway. You get something out of it. And work without meaning is suffering. I mean, if it's towards a meaning, it's there's nothing better than the exhausted feeling at the end of a long day of meaningful work. It absolutely is. So in a selfish way, I think you should do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I have 9 days left. Wait, 10 days left. 11 days left today. Take out Christmas because I won't even think about it on Christmas. I got 10 days. I had 10 days to decide. I'll make an announcement on December 26th on whether or not I run. And here's the part that I think is that I'm going to say. I just put up this post. Here's the reality. If I run for governor of Colorado, I can and I will win. I will spend zero time talking to those who should vote for me. Zero time. You won't get a whole lot of windshield time with me. What I would do is I would go to Aurora and Denver and areas that are most impoverished or most affected by the policies of Colorado. You know, I call them the 40% of the tree that is either rot or diseased, right? So if you have a tree and you plant it in the ground and you look around and a part of the roots are rotted on one side. Now, do you water the part of the roots that are good and forget about the part that's diseased and say, oh, let's get rid of it? Or do you service the symptoms of that rot and get rid of that disease in the roots so that the entire tree can be healthy? Well, until we get to the place where we start having conversations with the have-nots and stop having conversation with the haves or the people that stand out there and say, with the dog whistles, I know what it is that people want. You don't have any idea. You've never been there. You've never been poor. You've never been in a place where they've already only given you two choices. There's no opportunity. The deserts are right around you. That the only opportunity is this. If you're a black kid in Denver, is like, hey, you're being recruited to go be LeBron James or to be a drug dealer. You choose. Which one do you want? Mm-hmm. That the opportunities, Tommy, that they give to people in certain environments. And then you have the Democrats that run around saying, hey, the reason why you're here and the reason why is they want to take away your ability to have an abortion. And what they should be saying, if they're being honest, is, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to genocide an entire generation because, frankly, we haven't gotten it right. And you wouldn't even be having this conversation about genociding an entire generation and making abortion a right if we didn't take 56 cents of every dollar from you, and oh, by the way, make it so that you have an education desert where 30% of the people graduate in Denver, and of that, they have a 7th grade reading level and a 5th grade math level, and they haven't been taught anything other than how to be a social justice warrior, and that the people in suburbia, those white people, they're the reason why you're here. Because if we go back 250 years, they're the ones that have this epidemic of slavery, and they just want to continue to oppress you. The reality of it is it's the same people that have betrayed you over and over and over again for generations. They're the ones that are saying that they're there to help you, but they're not. They're there to destroy you, keep you stymied, keep you focused in on being a victim, right? Those are the people that I want to go talk to. And I want to talk to them about the opportunity, because guess what? Is United Airlines going into the inner city and saying, hey, we want to recruit you? Absolutely not. They're not asking them to be lawyers and judges, and they're not asking them to do any of that. They're saying, we're going to teach you basic math and we'll make a common core. So just round up, round down. Don't need to know math. That's the thing, Tommy, that we're dealing with. That is what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with a common sense effect of those people, of how you give them opportunity. How do you make sure there's no food desert? And how do you make sure that they have no opportunity desert, that you're actually bringing opportunity, flourished opportunity to their communities? And whether that we're talking about the slow roll of pushing out trade schools, or the stop the school to prison pipeline, and what happens in the Department of Corrections, where they keep them fed up with drugs and gangs on the inside and no opportunity or no access to continued education, which should be what we should be doing to every inmate in the state of Colorado. No. They're more focused in on the for-profit prison system so they can stuff the faces of the judges and the bureaucrats that invest in those things so that they can create an entire class of people that sit behind bars. That's what I think. So those are the people that I'll be talking to, Tommy.
I think you need to lean into the poverty aspect. And I say that as somebody who went to 4 boys, private Catholic school, lived in a country club. I've never wanted in my life. And I'm just very honest. I work hard. I'm proud of working hard, but I'm also very honest. I've never gone without food. I've never gone without shelter. I've never gone without anything. I've never wondered how I'm going to pay a medical bill. And I just have to be very honest about myself in that I don't know that. I can think I know it. I can talk abstractly, but I don't know it. I just, very plain and simple, don't know it. And that's fine for me. I don't think you can meaningfully run for office if you don't have that kind of background, and you do. So for again, whatever my 2 cents are worth, I would say play into that, because you're going to be able to talk to people on a level that you can't bullshit. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I can pretend. I don't know it. And I would imagine that those who are really wanting or have been wanting can probably weed out bullshit pretty easily.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, you're
Yeah, hold on a second. They can't hear him. They can't hear him right now. Sorry, Nick. No, we're live. You're not live. Sorry. Okay, so let's walk through this if we can. Some of the other things that we're going to talk about today, like the hangover of the weekend. We're going to also talk about today, Tommy. We're going to talk about Trump, talking about the truckloads of 2020 election evidence proving it was rigged. Tulsi Gabbard confirmed the DNI probes into election integrity, and the Rasmussen, they had some highlighting some historic Supreme Court rulings on federal oversight of stolen races. And, it's not uncommon for me to have demanded justice, Tommy, and I've called for us to have those consequences. And let me just tell you what's the consequence for treason, Tommy?
death.
Up to and including death. Now,
Yeah.
I don't actually care if you take a firing squad or if you take a rope. I prefer to take a rope personally. But if you want to take a firing squad, I'd be okay with that as well. But stealing the voice of the American people is not a victimless crime. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. The fact that we've gone through all this stuff over the last 5 years, they have murdered Americans. They have pushed for the rape and the grooming of our children. They have trafficked children from other countries into the United States with impunity. They have made chaos the thing that gave them all the opportunity so they could stuff their face. It's not a victimless crime, and they should pay. They should pay the ultimate price. And when I talk about the leadership in Colorado and what they've done to Tina Peters, it's not Tina Peters that is the only victim in all of this. They have victimized the American people. They have victimized the people of Colorado, and they should pay.
Yeah, I think I got banned, whatever account I was on Twitter last year, by saying that. I was like, this isn't a whoopsie. This isn't a white collar crime. You should, when you look at like Camp X-Ray, which I believe is a subdivision of Guantanamo Bay, when you look at them and then it's the orange jumpsuits, handcuffed behind your back, sensory deprivation. Yeah. When you do all that, that's because of what you did. That is up there with stealing an election. Now, stealing an election doesn't seem as brutal as a terrorist attack. It absolutely is. I think the wording I used was that's apex treason. That is absolutely what that is. And why is Trump bringing it out now? Why is he trotting it out now? Do you think, Joe?
Because I think that he recognizes that we're in a very fragile place as a country. And you don't have to look very far. You can't have $37 trillion in debt. I think that when we actually audit the Fed and get rid of the Fed, which ultimately we'll talk to our guest about today, we'll get to the bottom of the fact that we probably don't owe $37 trillion. And frankly, if we start looking at where money is going and $800 billion goes to, or $800 million goes to Ukraine, and we send $30 billion over here and $11 million to have transgender surgeries in Somalia, if we start doing the real math on where we are as a country, we'll find that we shouldn't have to be paying 56 cents on every dollar. We shouldn't have property tax. We shouldn't have stolen elections. We should have people in our community that represent 4% or 3% of the people that are employed, not 20% of the people that are employed. And we wouldn't have the same type of issues that we have in our country with a large amount of gut and rot that we have that seems to have taken over everything that we do as a country. So I think President Trump is trying to reset the realities. He's trying to hand back the reins to the American people. And it's going to be very painful because that means a lot of bureaucrats are going to lose their jobs. We saw them fighting against that. And if we take that into consideration, we just already look at the financial mechanisms. In order for him to pull the rug out from underneath the people that are in positions of power, he's going to have to make sure he stabilizes other parts, which gives people confidence in what happens in the future. So I think you're going to see a lot of things happen at the same time. And I think it's like, all right, break. We're going to pull the Band-Aid completely off, and we're going to have to examine every aspect of it. But while we do that, we're going to send 50,000 people to the gulag. That's what I think will happen.
That's what I hope happens.
That's not a Q deal. I mean, I didn't come up with that by watching someone tell me that I have to look at the secret handshake or rub on your head and knock on your belly a couple of times. These are all things that systematically, if they don't happen, we're all dying. We're all dead. Like if this stuff doesn't happen, they don't get rid of machines and mail-in ballots. I don't really care what the hell happens because 95% of you will all be dead. They will have created such a set of dysfunction that we will exist in the United States that it literally will destroy all the financial systems and all the systems of accountability we have, because we currently live in a lawless society where they pick and choose winners and losers, period.
Yeah, I think if
I'm on a little roll.
I think if Trump really does what he needs to, and this isn't my unique take, is although I like it, is for Trump to do the right thing, he should be hated for the next 20 years. And then in around 25 years, he should start to realize it was the right thing. That's the level of drastic measures he has to take. You're going to hate him for a long time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, let's talk about our guest for a minute here, right? I know we're going to talk about some other stuff too, because I want to talk about Brandi Bradley. She's been getting threats, and we have a recording of those threats against Brandi Bradley, who's one of our legislators in Colorado, and by a radical who thinks it's okay to go after one of our legislators. And by the way, nobody's been arrested for it. Matter of fact, I haven't even looked into it. So we're going to talk about that too. But let's talk about our guests. So one of the things that we have to start talking about is what's happening economically. And so we're going to bring on Algo Cowboy. I like the algo part. I like algorithms a lot. He's a trading powerhouse. His name is Nick Pitruzzello. Hopefully he brings me some mozzarella and a little bit of linguinis. I have a little bit of that stuff too. Yeah, I'm always terrible. I should have, with as much Italian as I have in me, I should know this stuff. But we're gonna walk through his 2026 economic and crypto forecast, because crypto's down. I mean, I think that Bitcoin's at like 86 or 87 right now. Solana, which is usually, hovers around that 150, got as high as 260 or 270. I think it's sitting at like 125 or 126 or something. So, and then we're going to talk about debt and, how are they going to reset this? We started talking about the fiat currencies. And so we're going to be talking about a lot of things with him. And I look forward to this conversation because this is like me having a conversation with Derek. And I know many of you have seen Derek come on here, ex-trader on the New York Stock Exchange floor. But this is the important stuff. Like, how do we weather a financial storm, and are we even going to hit a financial storm? So, so let's do that. Let's just not waste any more time and bring Nick in. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be on.
It's good.
Yeah, listening to you guys in the background, I feel like I'm home.
Yeah, lots going on. So tell everyone a little bit about you. Looks like you got a bunch of stuff going on in the background.
Sure. Yeah, got the Matrix stuff or the Tron stuff in the background there. If you're talking about the screen. So my name's Nick, and I've been a trader full-time since 2017, right? I've done a lot of things in the background. I've got a degree in economics, focusing on econometrics, calculus-based statistics, regression models. Probably forgotten 80 to 90% of all of that because it was 20 some odd years ago. Worked in the insurance business for a good 20 years. I've done also a fair amount of sales, serial entrepreneurship. And in 2017, really, I'd say I started to wake up, if you will, kind of red pill around 2011. I have an uncle who was really early into the red pill compared to most people. Went back to sleep for a minute. And then in 2015, the election cycle kind of woke me up a little bit. Seeing what was going on, learning about the Clintons' background, watching the machine just turn on Trump. It was like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. And, so I went down that path. And at the same time, I found cryptocurrency. So I started getting into that. And then when cryptocurrency first took its first kind of short-term dip, I thought to myself, okay, this is new. And I have to find a way to make money in this while it's not necessarily going up. So I got into what's called technical trading. And it's, there's a lot of people who try to do it. Most of them fail. See, 90% of people lose 90% of their money in the first 90 days of doing it. Your odds of success are low. But let's just say I was in the right place at the right time, and I worked really hard at it. And instead of taking another job, because I didn't have, I barely got into crypto, and my contract was going to run out in August. And so I had a choice. Like, I had some money saved. I had time to think, like, what am I going to do next for my career? And I just went full bore into crypto and trading. And fortunately, a lot of it has to do with getting in early. A lot of it has to do with maximizing my position through technical trading. I was able to not have to look back into the corporate two-step. And along with that, some of the partners that I work with are very well informed. Also, you could say on our side of things, I'm not a big believer in sides. But definitely what we used to call red pill, even that term has been co-opted. At that point, I was really a hard libertarian, per se, kind of like along that Tom Luongo sort of lines, where he was like, really, I don't want anything to do with the fight. And then come to realize that, that was a trick too. And we got to get in the fight. So, I'm big on truth, and I'm big on financial... the financial insulation from a lot of the problems that are coming out. I don't think that's the only kind of insulation we have. But I think that if you can insulate yourself financially, you do have a chance at least a better chance of pulling through the problem. So that's my history, really. I have a company where I teach people how to do what I do, and that's about it.
Correctly.
Yeah. You even kind of did the thing with the hand.
It's like you taught me. Pitruzello.
Because like you can say it wrong, but if you do this, people are going to...
I think the first time you came on, I enunciated through it like it's a kindergarten. I was like, this is Mr. Pitruzello. And you're like, dog. Pitruzello. I was like, all right. So that's what I remember. Don't remember much else, but that's it.
No.
You did great. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, but what we, really also vibing with what you guys were talking about before and the election integrity. So, I mean, you guys take the conversation where you want to go with it. We can go on the finance stuff or the other stuff. I'm game.
Well, I think the first thing that I want to look at is, where's the bottom? Where's the bottom on cryptocurrency? Let's start with Bitcoin, right? I mean, Bitcoin's, taking a beating right now. I just looked it up. It's just at 86,000. It dropped 3% today. And there's this talk over the fact that people are moving their money towards fixed assets like gold, silver, things like that, and pulling it out of the cryptocurrency. Is this a bridge too far? We're going to see it drop another 30, 40,000 points? What are we looking at? Where's the bottom?
Between 30 and 50,000. And I think closer to 30. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a panic wick down to the mid 20s.
Okay. Even on Solana, you think it's going to go to like the 80s, 90s, 50s, 60s?
I haven't looked at Solana from a technical standpoint, but most of these cryptos, from a bull to a bear, you usually see about an 85 to 90%, move down.
Okay. So they go all the way up to 120, get down to 30 or 40. Then what's it take for it to get back? Right?
Well, it's a 4-year cycle. So Bitcoin is based on what is called the halving cycle. And forgive me if this is review. I think for you guys it is. The way that Bitcoin works is the miners will facilitate a transaction by solving a cryptographic cipher. When that happens, they are given a reward. That reward is how new Bitcoin enters the market. And that reward is cut in half every 4 years. So every 4 years, the amount of new Bitcoin that goes into the market is cut in half, therefore creating a scarcity. Now, with anything that is valuable, a scarcity will increase the demand and therefore increase the price. And that having happened in 2024, and we saw what happened leading up to 2024 and after. And it's pretty predictable that anywhere from a year to 400 days after the peak, which if the peak in fact was 126,000, that puts us somewhere around November of next year. So roughly a year from now that we would probably see the bottom. And all these other coins that are not Bitcoin, with very few exceptions, they tend to be more volatile, both up and down. So you tend to see the altcoins do even worse than Bitcoin in that sense.
Is it gonna be a gradual drop down? Because like Solana's at 126 right now. Does that mean it's gonna they puff back up to 140, come back down to 120, and then start to slowly go from there? I mean, what does the bottom look like?
Well, that's pretty realistic. Yeah, the way you've described it in such broad swaths is a good way to say it. You usually have a market cycle where there's a panic, the top sells off. It's called a blow off top. Doesn't always happen. And then price kind of stabilizes near the top at what's called complacency, which is where we might kind of be right now. Now, don't get me wrong. There is always a chance that something happens and we see Bitcoin go back up to make new highs or challenge the highs. We did have that double top in 2021 where it hit, I think it hit about 68,000. And then 3 or 4 months later, it hit 70,000. These things can and will happen. And the predictability of Bitcoin right now, the market's a little different than it used to be because it has now been bolted onto the traditional finance system with the incorporation of all of these ETFs, IBIT shares and BlackRock and everybody else. So there's always the X factor of this time might be different. But as somebody who is investing or even trading, this time might be different are usually famous last words. So the only thing we have to go on is what's happened in history. And what you would expect is kind of a move down. I think if there were a bounce on the way, it would happen around 75,000. And then I think, and this is, again, just probabilities, right? You might see a bounce around 75,000 and it might go into the 80s or maybe even higher. But unless it can really come anywhere near 100,000, then you're probably looking at a move down. And that move down will come in fits and starts. You'll have like a strong move down probably to 50,000 ish, and then maybe it'll hang out there and keep, give some people hope, and then it'll, come down towards like say 40, and then it'll compress for a while. But usually at the very bottom, you see everybody panic out. And when Bitcoin is the worst thing in the world to buy and everybody's talking trash on it, that's when I get very interested in putting any dry powder towards it. And I think that'll be around this time next year, roughly. And of course, doing what I do, all of my theses are subject to change based on data coming in. So as time goes on, I'm able to refine those positions, right?
What your position now is that cryptos
With which?
with let's just call Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Is that we're gonna see these little bumps. And if you look at, I mean, by the way, if you just look at the charts for Bitcoin, everything you're saying just bears out, right?
Mhm.
You look at it from a week standpoint, it's bump. It's like a heartbeat, bump, go down further, bump, go down further, until literally it starts to bottom out. I don't think we're anywhere near the bottom, frankly. And then when it hits the bottom, it should something else happens. Which, by the way, this is really weird. The buy ratio is still really high on Bitcoin, and yet there's still this regression that happens on the stock.
It's something else. Yeah, it's this is where that X factor comes in, where it's a bit of an unknown scenario. Bitcoin as a technology, in my opinion, has been relatively outmoded, but once you get that first mover advantage, and once the powers that be decide that they're going to use it for whatever the case may be, then of course it's going to get held up. You're going to have important parties keep the price high, which is why I don't say it's going to go down to 25. I'm like, it could go 30 to 50, because it may be that important players might get liquidated below a certain price, right? So this is when things get a little unpredictable. Also, Bitcoin has a lot of believers still. Now in 2017, it was almost religious with Bitcoin. As time has gone on, you see the new people catch on and they become religious with it. It's like a cult. And then another cycle later, they're not so much. You're always going to have that. So you're always going to have the Michael Saylors of the world, and God bless him. I'm not. He makes way more money than I do, so I'm not disparaging him at all. And for all I know, he's right. But you have people who will always buy every dip. And just from what I've seen, like, look, if you're not a trader, you don't know what you're doing. Historically, the best thing to do is just to kind of dollar cost average, buy and hold, and find something that you believe in, and take profit at some point. And that's time in the market is going to beat timing the market 99 times out of 100 for the regular person who doesn't study the trading. So you're always going to have that buy ratio for some of that reason.
Well, let's talk about what that what that kind of looks like. I got out at 94,000 because a friend of mine called me and said, "Just get out, Joe. Get out of Bitcoin." He goes, "It's going to zero," and I was like, "It can't go to zero." He goes, "It's going to get pretty close." And so I go, it better not get close. And he goes, "Just sell it, Joe." And I go, "It's going to go to 75."
It was me. I was using a voice modulator.
Yeah. But I said, "Okay, I'm going to sell it." And then it went to like 102. And I was like, "Look, you were wrong." And he's like, "Padawan, you must wait." And then it went to like 85,000. I was like, crap. Okay, you're right. I'm good. I got out when I did. And I remember doing this before. I got out at like 123 and then bought in at 102. So I'm on the edge. I mean, I bought originally in at like 23,000. And prior to that, you guys are going to you're going to want to throw up in your mouth. So someone owed me a bunch of money in 2012. Okay. So he gave me Bitcoins. And I was like, "Okay, Bitcoins." He's like, "Yeah, I know you owe this money. I'll give you this coins." And so he gave me this wallet and he gave me this code for this wallet, right? So then I lost the code.
How many? Do you need a moment?
You're gonna die. Yeah, it's just under 800 Bitcoin.
So I can say something to make you feel better.
I can get it back. I just got to wait until they decentralize it, and then I can use that wallet address to get it out. I just have to wait for the government to do something, and then I'm worth whatever 40 million or 130 million, something like that. I don't know what the math was really high before. Yeah.
Well, it might be, if in fact that can happen, if you can ever get that money, then it's better that you lost the wallet, because the vast majority of people, when looking at an investment that has gone up,
no, I lost the key. I have the wallet. I don't have the key.
Yeah,
I've tried everything. I told someone I'd give them $20 million. They got it up for me.
Well, but like I say, if in fact it's ever possible for you to get that money out one day, if that were possible, then you've been done a favor that you lost that key. Because the trick with investments is when you see something go up like times 5 or 10 or even 20, you're going to sell it. you probably would have sold it some time ago, and then you just wouldn't have it. And so a lot of people in the game, a lot of people not in the game as deep as I am, don't understand that you make decisions based on the information you have at the time.
Yeah,
right.
I would agree with that.
There's no hindsight in this world. I mean, there's only hindsight, I should say. There's no foresight.
Well, I just thought it was. I didn't think I was going to get my money, and I just said I'll just let it sit. And, I mean, I think it was something absurd, like $100 or something. Not even that per deal. So anyway, I took what I can get, and then I just totally forgot about it until somebody says Bitcoin's at 12,000. I was like, oh shit, let's go find it. Right?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
painful.
It's very
Well,
painful.
I know those stories. I've got lots of stories like that.
I got a friend that it's even worse, by the way. It's much worse. I mean, think of over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and has no ability to get it back. Gonzo.
Yeah, I think it's almost better to just not have it. That would be so much.
He
less
doesn't have it
painful.
anymore. Yeah,
That's what I mean. It's like,
but it's like 16 or 17% of Bitcoin that's unretractable until they get to a place where they or centralize the currency, accept the currency.
I mean, I don't think just in general, just the general trend of technology over the millennia, it'll one day be accessible. Someone will find a way in a way that it seems impossible to us now. But I mean, go back 100 years ago, and one day you'll be able to shoot pictures of yourself through the sky at light speed. You can wrap your head around it, but eventually it arrives. I mean, now that might not be in your lifetime, which is no bueno, but eventually it will. I mean, it's Bill Gates saying no one will ever need more than 640 kilobytes of memory. It's like eventually you're wrong. I don't think it will be in your life, but eventually somebody will get it, Joe. So,
Nick, what's it going to get to when they solve all the problem, or there's no more Bitcoin to mine? Do they just increase it, or what are we dealing with here?
Well, the trick's going to so Bitcoin works on what's known as the Zeno's paradox, and Zeno XENO. This is if you are 10 feet away from a wall, you move 5 feet towards it, and you cut that in half. You move 2.5 feet towards it, you cut that in half. Now you're another 1.25 feet, and so on and so on. Bitcoin is going to move asymptotically, is the term, towards $21 million. It'll never get there. The trick is that now this is going to be hundreds of years in the future, and who knows what that's like. But eventually it's going to get so small that the 8 decimal points is going to be too big. They're going to have to change the code so that there's just more decimal points in order to make that work. And by that time, they're going to probably have done that and many other changes to the code for Bitcoin to continue to remain viable. So it's and at that point, I don't even know if dollars are going to be a thing, or if they are a thing, they'll be a very different thing than they are right now. It's the finance at that point, in a certain way, or at least finance as we know it, may have lost its meaning by that time.
Okay, so
answer.
Yeah, can I ask more questions about the crypto space right now?
Yeah.
If the time to get out of crypto is right now, or not to, basically to wait, or then when do you know when the bottom is, or do you think this is more of a shifting towards precious metals and things that are going up right now, and then make the switch over to cryptos when they're going back up?
Sure. That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, right? So we were told back in January, my business partner does very large precious metals and crypto deals around the world, and he owns half of Algo Factory with me. And he let us know in January that his big players were selling all their crypto for gold. That was when Bitcoin was above $100,000 in January, and everybody thought, "Oh, well, the halving cycle is not supposed to end for a year. It's going to go way higher. It's going to go to 250,000." And I mean, okay, I've been telling people for, I want to say since mid 2024, maybe early 25, but definitely definitely early 25, probably earlier than that my cycle top for this cycle was between 120 and 160,000, with a sweet spot at 145. That's what I called it at. And that was a year before we even saw the top. So with that being the case, you kind of have to, like, never try to nail the bottom in trading, never try to just get the absolute bottom, because that's
it's impossible.
Well, not only is it impossible, it's a good way to lose your money. The way that it works, usually you're going to have a combination of technical and fundamental information. It's going to have to do a lot with what's going on in the rest of the market, and it's going to have a lot to do with what happened on the charts. So, for example, if there are tremendous changes in the dollar itself between now and then, well, then that might change everything, right? Because Bitcoin's based on dollars. But if we're just to keep all things equal, how do I know the bottom's in? A lot of it's going to come through informational networks that I have, or that whoever has them, right? In my case, those that I have. And also, there are some technical ways to have a good idea. And usually, you're going to look at a prior cycle high, and then you're going to sort of extrapolate based on what price did in the past, right? And this is where I get my 30 to 50 range. So the prior top was 69,000, the bottom was at about 15, and then it came up to 126 or so. And if you just study the past, you at least have some good idea of what's going to happen. It's difficult because we've only seen 4 halvings. And when I'm doing my back testing, when I'm studying like the euro versus the dollar, because I trade that all the time, or whatever it might be, I take a look at my trading model and I go back 200 trades. I use 200 data points to establish a thesis, and then I build my algorithm based on that. Well, there's been, 4 halvings? 3? So 3 or 4 data points is really not a very strong set, not a very strong sample size. So you got to use the data you have, and then you have to also take a look at the time. And then I mean time as in how long does it usually take for the bull market to end? How long does it usually take for the bottom to be in from the top? And that's usually roughly like 400 days. I mean, I could chart it out right for you on the show, but I think people's eyes would glaze over and wouldn't be as fun. I'd be happy to do it though if you want me to.
I think I look at this from the perspective of. By the way, let me just kind of back up for a minute. So when in the times of lull, and maybe I don't know enough about cryptocurrency other than the fact that I've gotten myself into trouble with it a little bit. Can you short cryptocurrency?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's tough to do in the United States. If you have the proper setup internationally, though, you can very easily short crypto.
In the United States, and let you short it.
I think in the United States, you can short it if you are shorting in the CME. There are some exchanges that allow you to do it. You may need to be a sophisticated investor in order to do that. I've been able to rely on other setups to do that, though. So basically, having companies owned a certain amount in another country and therefore have access to other exchanges that allow you to do it. But it's pretty easy to do.
Because right now would be the time, right?
I think so. Certainly between now and this time next year, there will be a lot of opportunities to short Bitcoin, certainly. Well, almost certainly. Nothing's for certain, is it?
No, nothing's for certain. We'd like to say that's for certain, but it's definitely not for certain. All right, so are you just play with crypto, or do you play with stocks too and play with all that stuff?
I'm primarily a Forex trader. I spend more time trading Forex than anything, and I take the wins and roll them over into whichever investment I think has a better upside. So, up to maybe partway through 2023, I was interested in putting money into crypto. After that, any wins would go to dry powder. Starting at the beginning of this year, I was more interested in purchasing precious metals with the wins. But I like Forex because it's very consistent. Forex is, just so the audience knows, it's like dollar versus the yen, the European dollar versus the dollar. Everything's very predictable. Most of the news that's going to affect the price is news that is coming rather than surprises for the most part. It's a $7 trillion a day settlement. There's more money that goes through that than anything else.
And so you make money on small percentages.
Yeah, just base hits all day long. So the first time I made money was algorithmically, right? I got lucky. I got into some Bitcoin, and then I actually lost most of it. And this is a very long time ago. I turned, I don't know, something like $5,000 into like 15, and then lost almost all of it. I was down to $2,500. You know, didn't really know what I was doing in crypto. This is like 2017. And what I did
Imagine what it'd
was,
be worth now.
what's that?
Imagine what that money would be worth now. Well, you obviously know, but
Well, I mean, so when you're a trader, you know, everybody thinks you're rich, but and maybe you're doing better than most. But you got to pay bills and things like that. So you got to take your seed money out to pay the bills, and there's drawdowns. And, you know, sometimes no matter how good your algorithm is, you're going to have drawdowns for, you know, sometimes a month or two. But in the end, you're profitable. That's why it works. And this is the psychological component to trading we can talk about later. When it came to the first time that I really made any money, it was algorithmically. Now, for those of you who've been around for a minute, there's a website called Ether Delta, and Ether Delta was, as far as I know, it was the first on-chain Ethereum website exchange. I mean to say, so the block time is what would control how fast the transactions would close. Now, there's a game called arbitrage where you're just going between the buyers and the sellers, and it's impossible to do now in most circumstances for two reasons. One, the gap between buyer and seller is so small in most markets that have any size. Number two, you have these machines that are doing it in picoseconds. So there's no way you're ever going to be faster than a machine. You'll never find a big gap between buyer and seller, and you'll never be faster than the machines. Well, in this case, I lucked into a crypto that I fundamentally thought was going to do well. I took what was left of that 15 grand, which was like $2,500. And I said, screw it. You know, I'm going to buy this and see how it does. Now, when I did that, given my background, and I might even have a touch of the tism, I looked at this. I didn't know how order books worked. I didn't know how exchanges worked, not really. And I just looked at this, and it was this old school looking. It looked like it was made with MS-DOS, like in the early 90s, this exchange. And I figured out that this particular crypto had a lot of volume on that exchange because it was very popular and there was nowhere else to buy it. And there was always a 2 to 3% gap between buyers and sellers. And so I was moving my money back and forth doing what's called spread arbitrage. Basically, I was auctioning and selling, right? So basically buy and sell across the 2%, 3% gap all day long. And a week later, I looked in my profit, like the amount of money in my balance had doubled. I wasn't looking at the balance. I was playing the game because it's a game, and I'm an old gamer. So I'm playing the game, and I look and I'm like, oh, I doubled my money in a week. Maybe I should do this more. And so I just kept doing it. And I turned like 25,000 into something, or 2,500 into something like 35,000. And of course, like all exploits do, that exploit closed. But I learned at that point that base hits matter. Like people who make the most money in trading, they're not these like, oh, I bought this here and I got 100x on it. And like those people are few and far between, and they did that once and they don't tell you about the other 190 times that they lost everything. The real traders that make money make it incrementally, and they do it risk adjusted, and they're very careful about it with, 2% wins, bada boom. So I figured out how the Forex traders do that, not quite at the same rate, but often at the same rate. And I translated it over, but not spread arbitrage. That game is long gone.
All right. So what's the bet? What's the bet right now? Let's talk about the Fed real quick. How does the Fed influence what we're doing with cryptocurrency? I originally thought that cryptocurrency, it was a way that they could, satisfy the debt. And now the more I start researching the Fed and the debt they say that we have, nearly $37 trillion, that I'm not sure the $37 trillion is even real. If the number's real, I find it very hard to believe that that's a real number.
Well, I mean, who do we owe the money to, right?
Ourselves, mostly.
So at that point, it's probably going to be a write down. And what I mean by a debt write down is that's what the banks call it when you just make the debt go away. Now, in the old days, they used to have a jubilee every so many years, right?
7 years, yeah. Every
7 years, biblically. And the reason I think that was done was because of things like this, where things just get so out of control that the debt has lost its meaning. Like it doesn't mean anything, which again, goes to what you're saying about it being, it doesn't mean anything. What are we trying to say? It made up was your term, and I agree. So a lot of that debt's owed to other countries. People think China and Japan have the most, but it's actually over in Europe collectively. I think they have about $4 trillion. A lot of it's sitting in, I think, Luxembourg. believe it or not. It's just not, held as in the same way that Japan and China owe it. Ultimately, I think what matters is productivity rather than the zeros and ones that they push around that we call money. And I think a lot of what's been done, and I'm going to say it, it's been done to us. I hate to take a victim mentality, but these are parasites that run this game.
Right.
And so they use this money to basically fleece us. It's a silent tax, and this is why in the Bible you see neither thee shall borrow nor shall lend, something along those lines. I don't know the scripture perfectly. Forgive me, I'm a bad. I grew up in the church, but I've lost a lot of that. Either way, there's a reason a lot of cultures don't allow for borrowing and lending. And I think that's the reason. It's very detrimental to society. It's bad for savers. You work all your life, you save your money, you're told to save your money, and that gets eaten away by, this situation. So the Fed itself and crypto, excuse me, to answer your question, I think that they're going to use crypto to prop up our debt. So I think I think at this point though,
I mean, look, they're taking 56 cents on every dollar from the average American, right? So 56 cents on every dollar. If you look at property tax and taxes they get, and I'm talking about across the board for federal or state government, it doesn't matter really to any of us. It's still 56 cents of every dollar that we make that goes to them. And, that there's a moral or ethical dilemma in what's happened in our country with what they've done to the American people specifically. And they can do it to other countries. I don't care. In America, I do care because you don't fundamentally own anything. Like they own your house, they own everything else because you have to rent it from them. If you don't pay the taxes, they just sell it off. So how when we look at it from this perspective, from my perspective, maybe you don't share this, but it's my perspective that the people that we've just gotten to this place where Bitcoin is like the next thing, right? Like Bitcoin's the next thing, came out of nowhere. I would say nowhere, but it doesn't have really, and maybe you could tell me I'm wrong. It doesn't have any fundamentals. Somebody just said that, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't. Like, there's nothing. Like you're buying code. Am I looking at this wrong? Is my friend that was in New York Stock Exchange stockbroker, is he wrong about the fact that there's no foundational basis for Bitcoin or the valuation of said?
Well, this is an argument that's been going on for a long time, and the value that it would have is as an immutable ledger. Right, so it's a way to it's a way to keep track that supposedly is immutable, and so far it's got to be, because if it was changeable, somebody would have gone on and changed it, and it would be worth nothing, right? Because so that's its value, and in many ways, gold has that same value. Yes, there are some industrial purposes for gold, but by and large, it's like jewelry, and it just sits there, and it says, okay, you have this piece of metal. You can't eat it. You can't build with it. It's too soft. Gold doesn't work like you can't make a gun out of gold. It'll just break. So in a sense, gold almost has that same argument. Like, what's the value of gold? It's pretty. It's yellow. In the end, there is industrial value, but there's a similar conversation. But I think that may or may not even be material to your question and your point of view, because I think that, and this is what I'm hearing from on high, if you will, Bitcoin is the next, you said it, but I'm going to expand it. You said the next thing. I think Bitcoin is the next thing that's going to be used to collateralize the open air casino that is Wall Street.
Okay. Wait, what?
So everything runs on collateral, right?
Yeah, I know. I get that.
So in order to there's no yield anywhere right at this point, because all of the debt that's being used to push the stock market up is then taking the yield away from the real world. So in the end, it's becoming a zero-sum game. It's the fleecing that they do to us. And the fact that they've stolen from us for so long, they're running out of stuff to steal because nobody has anything left to steal. This is when wars happen, right? So the parasites attach to a host, and then they kill their respective hosts. And those parasites, there's no more hosts. So they have to okay, well, you're a parasite, but I could leech off you. You could leech off me. And then, they send young men off to die. And that's just the history of it. A lot of these wars have gone on because of unpayable debt. And really, there's a really good documentary done by Mike Rivero. It's called All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. Really easy to find.
Right.
And it's great. And so
And it's
Bitcoin.
actually true. It's very true, by the way. If you go back in history, I mean, you go back 200 years, that'd be true.
Oh, I mean, 200 years of our
2000.
own history. You could probably take it way farther back than that.
I'm just talking about the 249 years we have in the United States. That never changed. That was always a fundamental Constitution be damned, right?
Well, yeah, what does it give you the control of the money, and I care not who makes the laws. So I forget who said that, but it's some turd.
Mayor Rothschild.
Mayor Amschel Rothschild, I think it is. So be that as it may, I think that Bitcoin, like, it's generated. So, for example, and this is, again, Tom Luongo does like a way better job of explaining this, but in order for a country to justify producing more debt and taking out more loans against the taxpayers in the future, the giving the chains to our grandchildren, as it were, the way they can justify that is by saying, hey, we're going to make more money in the future. So how do you do that as a country when you're not producing anything in your own country? You just go steal it from someone else. So this is why wars happen. They'll go over to some country and they'll take control of the oil. They'll go to some country and, they'll say, hey, these are going to be our companies that mine, we're going to mine all the stuff in Ukraine, whatever it is. So all of that stuff that we mine or control, it's not necessarily the items that we pull out of the ground. Yes, we'll make money on that. But what's more important to the current structure of finance, which is just fake, is that they can say, okay, we're going to make $40 trillion that's a big number. We're going to make $1 trillion on this in the next 10 years. So we're going to borrow against it, and they'll just yank $800 billion out of thin air. So this is how money is created. And this is why they need a collateral. They need something to say, hey, we're going to have this money in the future. So let's create this debt right now and then get people to purchase that debt. And now they have money with which they can work. And I mean, that's a model that is fine on paper, but it's been so perverse and so perverted and subverted. It's how we're stolen from. So Bitcoin is the new collateral for Wall Street. Wall Street has a whole new product they can offer. And they can talk it up and they can say all these great things about it. And you got the Michael Saylors of the world who are allowed to, I don't want to say proselytize, that might be the right word, but basically spread the religion. And that's how they can get more money into the stock market. That's how they can generate more yield. Because these hedge fund managers, a lot of them don't outperform the SP 500. Like if you would be almost better to self-direct your money into the SP 500 than a huge percentage of these major hedge funds out there. They're not beating the SP 500. Some are. The point here is that they make their money based on fees. Every time a transaction happens, they get a piece of that transaction. That's why the banks make money. Oh, it's a safe place to keep your money. Yeah, okay. Actually, you just make money every time I run my card, right? You make money every time I do a transaction with the bank to, get a car loan or something. And this is why debt is so popular amongst these large groups, because they get fee income, not to mention whatever interest they can get. And of course, that rots, and we are where we are.
Completely too complicated, but not complicated enough.
Yeah, the Bitcoin is the fuel for the next speculation. It's the new shiny object to get people to put money into the stock market so that they can make money off of you.
So that it is going to zero.
Oh no, I mean, eventually everything goes to zero.
Gold is never going to go to zero.
What's that?
Gold is never going to go to zero.
Well, I mean, I'm talking very long timelines, but gold would go to zero if we could get free energy. Because you can make gold in the laboratory.
But then everything goes to zero. Yeah.
Then everything goes to zero. Yeah. So it's all
energy,
relative.
and you can just fuck around with fusion and add nuclei to anything. Well, at that point, it doesn't matter what is zero because money isn't a thing. You're past the event horizon.
That's what I'm talking about when finance loses its meaning. If you can make gold in a lab right now.
Yeah.
It just takes so much money the energy it takes makes it financially extremely unfeasible, right?
Yeah. If we go out to the heat death of the universe, you could say that, Tom Brady isn't going to be the best anymore. It's like, well,
I mean, so there's a reason why I wanted to have this conversation before I get into talking about President Trump and what's happening in the country, because Nick, as you know, things become unstable very quickly when there's political instability, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to be calm at what's about to happen. And I know firsthand that there are going to be massive amounts of arrests that happen as a result of the stolen election, not just in 2020, but going into 2022, 2024, even going back to 2018, 2016, 2014. They want to know how much policy over the last 20 years has been done illegally by people that never should have been in the position they are, or the bureaucracy that's been created underneath that, right? So people have to be able to be protected. Do they put their money into gold and hold, which I personally like? But do they put their money in gold and hold or silver and hold, right? Silver's at an all-time high. It's like 62 or 63. At the beginning of the year, it was like 27, right?
Yeah, it's up, over 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you now have it, it's been put on the, critical mineral list by the United States and 4 other nations. BRICS is now using it to back their currencies, right? All of their currencies. And they're depegging from the dollar. So you have all this kind of crazy stuff that's happening right now. And now we're headed into political stability. So how do you, I basically said a lot. That's like a whole bunch of words, soup salad. But if we look at that part, we look at those pieces for people, and even the people say, well, I don't have a whole lot of money to put stuff into. Is there a safe bet right now? Is there a safe bet to say, listen, let's just take a deep breath, sit back, and let's wait for the political instability to happen that's going to happen in the next couple of months? Or do they just weather it and hope it comes back up again?
And I think I can speak for the three of us that we don't give investment advice. That's always a
we don't
good
give
way to
investment
get sued.
advice. I don't get investment advice. Here's what you don't do. Just don't take my advice. And if you do take my advice, it's free advice. It's worth what you pay for it.
My podcast is an entertainment program.
Right. So having washed our hands of that, I would say, what I find interesting are hard assets.
Okay.
So precious metals seem to be a good way to go. If I were able to trust the commodities market, if I were able to give my money to somebody and they'll give it back to me later based on the price of something going up, right? Like because if things get too politically unstable, then
you're not going to get that
even
either.
see your money,
yeah.
Right? But if I were to trust the markets and trust the brokers and all that, I'd be interested in the energy markets, long term, very long term, like 2 to 5 year horizon. It's going to be very interesting. There's a pretty big reason I think that we're ramping up in the Gulf of America right now. I think there's a bit of a glut at the very moment, I think, of oil, causing energy prices to be a little quieter than they could be or a little lower than they could be. But I would not be interested in things that are highly speculative. If I were just to play the market and I trusted the stock market and I wasn't worried about the great taking, and if I didn't have those concerns, which I do, which is why I like physical assets. But if I didn't, and I was looking at the stock market, I'd look at energy. I would look at stocks that tend to do well in downturns, or at least that lose less. That would be something like Walmart, or something defensive along those lines. That's what I would look at. But I don't play the stock market like that. I invest in myself personally. So when there's volatility and political instability, there's a lot of movement on the charts from which I can extract money on quite a regular basis. So I would invest in myself in that sense. But precious metals are the easy answer for me in my own way I look at the market. And silver's gone up so high lately.
I still think I think it goes to 200.
What's that?
I think silver goes to 200.
That's very realistic. I think it could be higher. I don't know. I know 100 for me, like next year. I think 100 is extremely likely. It could be like early next year.
Nick, there's no supply. They're running out of a supply.
Well, it also has, relative to gold, a ton of industrial uses.
Yeah, a lot more.
As far as we're going, it's just shiny metal.
Was an article today about a new kind of battery that we're interested in using that uses a lot of silver. And of course, EVs are pretty popular right now. $200
capacitors use silver.
What's that?
Capacitor technology uses silver.
Capacitor.
Yeah, military tech uses silver.
Yeah.
Everything. The cell phone towers,
cruise missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, he got killed with a silver-tipped monster.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it's
I think there might be a couple of politicians that only go out that way. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I think 100. I think 200,000 is realistic. I'm sorry, 200, I think 200 an ounce silver is realistic for next year. I think $100 an ounce is almost inevitable. I don't want to say inevitable, but yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so yeah, I think so. One of the things that I've been trying to do is that we have sponsors that are like gold, silver, 401k, and I'm really concerned about people's 401ks specifically because of how they're subsidized and how they're, you know, where you're able to put your money. And so I've been researching on how I give everybody the ability to hold their own IRAs, right? Self-directed IRAs that basically give you the same write-offs, but you can hold the products. I've been met with some resistance by everybody. They're like, "Oh yeah, Joe, nobody wants to hold their own gold and silver." And I'm like, "Are you nuts?" Like, I feel better having it in my own possession. Like, well, somebody could come steal it from you. I said, at the tip of a bullet, they could. Sure can. So what do you think about that? The part about holding your own precious metals, or, you know, putting it in the care of somebody else that could possibly just take it from you. If it gets too unstable, this is actually what happened way back in the Great Depression. So you had banks that were basically foreclosing on deposits because they're like, we don't have it, which led to guarantees.
That's what I've always. Sorry to interrupt, but that's what I've always thought. It's like by the time you need it, means things are pretty fucked, which means that the guy with the key to the vault might tell you no. That's kind of how I've always looked. It's the same reason, like, yeah, sure, call the cops, but it's good to have a gun in your home. That's by the time you need it, all norms are out the window, and the only thing that matters is what's in your hand. That's kind of how I view it. But Nick, I think the question was directed at you, not me.
No, I think. Oh, I agree with you. First of all, you know, it depends on how much you hold, and it depends on how well you trust somebody to hold the rest of it. Fortunately, my family owns a vaulting company. Now, even then, we have to trust the employees. So there's always that chain of trust.
You don't have turret guns. You don't have turret guns in there. So that turret guns, you stay too much in the vault.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's. I think possessing your own is fine. Don't talk about it if you have a lot. But I think that at this point, a lot of people have enough to where it's like, not such a mystery, you know, depending where you live and things like that. I think possession is good if you are ready to defend, to keep it. I think if you have a trustable vault, that's another situation. As I look at the market, I look at that question as well. And I think a hybridized solution is always valid, where always have a certain amount that is not in a vault and always have a certain amount that's in a vault. And if you have a lot, then I would find a vault I could trust and not keep it at home. But if if you're just somebody who has not a lot, then you may as well keep it at home. You know, I mean, anybody breaks into my home is going to end up with, a few new ear holes. So,
and just in the ears, or I'm
saying new ear holes, new holes. Oh, of all kinds. I just didn't want to say what I usually would say.
Yeah. Hey, they're going to be unalive. That's great. Awesome.
Yeah. No, we're one of the things I think is really good to collect is guns and ammo.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about that personally.
Yeah, I mean, follow the laws, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So let's I think we got a lot out of that personally. I just sold off my last bit of Bitcoin. So that was good.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew, I'm going to ask Nick about this. As soon as he tells me yes or no, I'm going to sell it or keep it.
Oh no, don't listen to me.
It's already done. I already did. Yeah. I was blaming on you. If you get the FT because it goes back up to 120, it's all your fault.
Yeah. Right. Well, there's always that chance, but I do think that this time next year, it'll be at a low. That's if you follow the Fourier cycle. It's just,
bro, it looks like a heartbeat.
So far.
It's the same thing you do with stocks, right? You look for what's it called? The candle, I forget. Derek, where are you when I need you? I know he's listening to this, huh?
The wick.
You look for a certain inverted candlestick that basically allows for you to see when the stock's going to drop. So,
yeah, probably a shooting star, or inverted hammers could look like shooting star. I have my roots in candle theory in trading. So
yeah, he's made a lot of money doing it. He teaches me quite a few things. I have this thing where I just use my gut, and I'm usually wrong, like I was with NBIS. So it's no, I'm not usually wrong, but I'm wrong up front, and then it tends to come back, and then I do really well.
Well, you can be right and early, and it's just painful for a minute.
Yeah, right and way early, and then it drops, and you question yourself and sell it out when you lose money. And it goes back up, and then you're chasing your loss. And you're like, son of a bitch.
That's a great, that's really good. That's a great description.
Exactly how it goes.
It's just like you just told some of my nightmares of my trading years, like in 2 sentences. Like,
I've done it before. It's the craziest thing ever. You're like, oh, I'm going to do so well. I bought this stock. It's like $100. It's going to go to 200, and it goes to 80. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I sell it. Then it goes to 95, and I buy it again. It goes back to 80. I'm like, son of a bitch. And then by the time you're done, you're in it like a fixed value, like $200 a share. You're like, son of a bitch. But you're already out. Then it goes to 200. You're like, I was right the first time. It makes you bipolar.
It almost feels personal.
It does. And then you wonder who is winning. You're like, because everyone you say it to goes, I have that experience too. It's like, we're all having the experience. Where is it going?
But
that's true. And that's
the DoD. That's the black hole at the bottom of all of it.
No, you said it. So those algos, those are like retail crushing algos. Those algos are designed to mess with you.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I sold out on Tesla. I said it's going to go to 350. It goes, it's at 475. I'm like, well, it's way overvalued. Like, it's 250. Its PE is like 250 or 280. It's not even real. It's crazy.
No, you guys saw what happened with Ellison and that circle game that they played
with Oracle.
So it was Oracle, and it was OpenAI, and then it was these 3 companies like
all buying on each other, and it's
they signed papers promising they'll do business in the future, and all of a sudden there's like $1 trillion that appears out of thin air. Like that's what we're talking about.
Podcast, you go on mine, we'll go on his, we'll go on his. We've all guaranteed each other new subscribers, and it's like at a certain point, where is it? Where is it? Where's the thing that it's based on? Nick, what do you think about? Isn't SpaceX going public next year?
Yeah, they want to go public.
Give us financial advice.
Oh, sure. Here we go. Guys, do what I say.
Billion right now. Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way. The dream that they're selling is space data centers. They want to put data centers in space. So what they want to do is...
But don't you need a medium to radiate heat to?
Well, no, the heat goes out into space.
How do you radiate that, though? I thought you had to radiate it to another medium, liquid or... I'll shut up. Sorry, keep going.
No, heat will dissipate out into space.
You can. I guess that's the idea of the Asimov engines. I'll shut up. Sorry.
No, it's okay. They can. The heat will just radiate out into space. I don't know if there is required to be some kind of atmospheric dispersal. I don't know the science of it, but they're saying that they can radiate heat out into space. That's what they're saying. So, long story short, again, maybe what you just said means that it's all fake. Like, is this real? But the dream that we're being sold is that there will be data centers in space, and SpaceX will be like that. That's the sizzle that they're selling. And what's the stake, though? I mean, the stake might just be a little, 8-ounce piece of cardboard that they sold you at. I don't want to name the place that really had me very disappointed about a year and a half ago.
That's quite I didn't hear that. I mean, because there is legitimate value in reducing the cost of kilogram to orbit. Like that's like a real thing. It kind of seems like they're already taking that and turning it into horseshit by going, now it's gonna be data centers in space.
Could just be a sales pitch. I mean, again, what's the PD? Is it realistic? And then again, is any of it real? So, I mean, they got Starlink, right?
I mean, yeah, no, I get that, but that's like the real value. It's like it is something up there that's providing value. In terms of heat sinks, I mean, wouldn't you just want to Because right, even just the difference. So if we're talking space to air. That's already an insane difference in orders of magnitude. But then liquid to air is 25x. That's why you'll freeze to death 25 times faster in cold water than you would just on a cold afternoon. Why wouldn't you put why wouldn't you put data centers in the 100 quintillion gallons of cold liquid medium you have here that we have? Why wouldn't you do that? It's the whole reason that you have nuclear subs. They never worry about running over because they got a heat sink that's eternal. Doesn't that seem like a little more cost effective? Even if it wasn't nearly as efficient, the very fact that you wouldn't have to shoot it out of the gravity well, maybe I should stop trying to like dictate how these trillion-dollar corporations are doing when I'm just growing a shitty podcast. Maybe I should know my place.
Questions, and that's the thing. That's what's going to separate you from just an investor, because Elon.
From losing my ass going both ways. Actually, I make a bunch of money on stuff because I actually do a great job, and then I actually get out early, screw it all up for myself.
Hey, you can't go broke taking profit.
Yeah, no, you can't. You cannot go broke from taking a profit. And I tell my friends this all the time. They're like, "Oh, I should have stayed in for another 100." I was like, "Just be glad you got the 50."
Yeah, be happy you got.
That's one thing that we talk about in the trading community is, first of all, you have a plan, you stick to the plan. And if you've taken profit, then you have followed the plan, and that's the end of the story. Whatever happened after that, you made your decision based on the information you had at the time, and you executed your plan. The rest of it is all pixie dust.
Hmm.
Yeah,
it's all mirage of what you could have stayed in for.
If you shoulda, coulda, woulda, then pretty soon you should all over yourself.
Well, I've done that too. So I mean, don't remind me of all the shit that I've done to myself. It's kind of bad.
Now, I think that's how we learn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the market is I like holding silver and gold. I was going to show you a gold piece, but I'll let you guys talk for a second. I'll go grab it. But I got a St. John's 2-ounce gold thing that was given to me by a friend for Christmas.
Let's see. I got something I can show you.
Yeah, hold on a second. Keep talking there.
Let me see what I got here. This was a gift. Let's see if the camera will pick it up here. This guy right here. This is a 2-ouncer, and it's the reason it's significant. It's what is this thing? It's silver. Yeah, it says freedom on it. It's a it's called the silver bullet, silver shield, and this came from my cousin bought metals from a guy with whom I do business now. 15 years later. And so when he found out that I was doing business with a guy 15 years after the fact that he bought a bunch of silver from him, then he goes, "Oh, I got to give you something I bought from him years ago, and then you got to show it to him, and see what he says." And so that's what this little gift was. But I got,
all right, what is
all
it?
kinds of
Let me see it. What do you got?
fun little.
So this was kind of a cool gift that I got. Let's see. Go ahead and it still has the plastic on it. See this? No. It's 2 ounces of solid gold. I take it out. Yeah, I know. He gave it to me. I was like, "Oh, that's nice." Let's see if I can get it out this way. There we go. See if you guys can see that. Yeah. It's 2 ounces of silver. It's called the St. John. And see if I got that. Yeah, St. John. See if they're going to let me do it. So yeah, my friend Jake gave this to me for Christmas. He's like, "What do you give a guy that has everything?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't have everything." So, but what's really cool about it is that it's like this incredible. I just took the plastics off it. I'm not sure I'm supposed to do that. But you can see it. Anyway, I like that he collects stuff too. Jake collects stuff too, but this is kind of my little, all right, what do I have type deal. All right, show me what you got.
Oh, okay. Got it right here. I didn't know if you're asking Tommy. So this is a silver bullet, silver shield. And what I was saying earlier was that my cousin bought a bunch of silver from a guy who I now do business with and do podcast with, but he did it 15 years ago before I had met the other guy. This is a 2-ouncer, or is it a 5-ouncer?
It's got to be 5 ounces.
I think it's a 5-ouncer, yeah. So even now, it's at like $300 right there, you know? Pretty crazy. And back when he bought it, this is, you know, probably worth like $40 or something, you know, or 50 or 60. And, but you know, it's beautiful. And this guy used to run a mint. He contracted with them, and he didn't run it, but he just kind of commandeered them. And then when my cousin found out that I was doing business with this guy, he goes, "Oh, you got to show him this and see what he says." And so he handed me that as a gift for my birthday, not terribly long ago. My ancient mid-40s over here still getting gifts from my uncles.
Well, I buy these buffalo nickel things. Yeah, silver nickel, 40 ounces. Yeah. So I buy those. I keep telling people to buy these stuff. And then I do this. I don't even know why we're talking about this. Like so many other stuff I want to talk about but this is always interesting to me. These are copper coins. You seen these?
You can kind of see them.
See if we can get close to it. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's just,
Britannia?
yeah, they're copper.
Copper Britannias, huh?
I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, anyway, so I collect a bunch of stuff. Everybody thinks I'm kind of crazy for doing it, but I'm like, okay, well, and then every now and then I go out and buy other, you know, if I get the feeling that I want to go out and buy a coffee or stuff, I'll put that money aside and I'll do it like 3 or 4 times. And then all of a sudden I have enough money to go buy a stack of silver or copper or anything. Just a discipline.
Yeah, that's key.
Right?
That's a lot of people don't have it. They, well, a lot of people don't have the extra money for the coffee, and that's a different type of discipline. I think if you don't have a hustle that's giving you a net positive, then you know that's something else you got to work on, right?
Well, I mean, there are the haves and the have-nots, and I talk about it as if everyone has what I have or has what you have. That's not true, right? And people listening don't necessarily have it. And so one of the reasons why I bring on people like you on the show is that it's all perspective, right? It's all, you know, trying to figure out a way to create cracks in the system that allow for you to benefit from it, right? So whether you're buying a $2 coin for that's a $2 that's now worth $6 coin for copper, or you're buying a stock for Bitcoin, you know, it's all relative. The whole goal is to make that $6 worth $12, to make the 80 grand worth 160.
I got a buddy who's a car nut, and he started buying cars to the point where even if it wasn't like a supercar, which he has those too, it doesn't matter what he buys. It's always going to be something that should appreciate in price, even if it's a car, right?
Yeah.
So you always have to, I mean, the rich dad, poor dad thing is, even though I know it's basic and a lot of people may not appreciate it properly, I think Kiyosaki really did teach a lot of good stuff in there, especially with the assets versus liabilities.
Yeah,
What
I
is
agree
it?
with you. What's that?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Kiyosaki, yeah. You've never read that book? Oh my
And
gosh.
he's pretty
Nick,
active
what's
in the
wrong with
podcast
this
circuit
guy?
too.
I don't know.
What's wrong with this guy?
I'll just jump out the window.
You don't even have a window.
Oh,
You don't have a window. Stop. No, that's not a window. That's a mirage.
Oh,
You can't jump out of that.
all right. You see what I
Yeah,
put up with, Nick? Do you see the gaslighting I put up with?
That's not gaslighting. Wrong word.
Do you see the abuse?
It's,
Do you see the sexual harassment?
oh boy.
Yeah.
No comment.
Sure. Yeah, not that. All right, Nick, give us your last thoughts on this, bro. I appreciate you coming on and giving us the thing and making me feel better about myself for not having, I'm not the only one that is bipolar about losing money.
Oh no, you're in the majority, and even the most successful people lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, what I'll leave you guys with is I think in the spirit of investing in yourself. This is what I do is I teach people how to trade and all that, and that's great. But that's not for everybody. And if I were to look into the job market for the next 10 years, anything to do with expanding the electrical grid, like being an electrician or being somebody who does construction, putting up the poles, because that's where it's going, right? And there's a lot of talk about that. Our mutual friend Ian Burlingame's got a lot more to say about that than I do. He's got a lot of better things to say about it, more educated things to say about it. But that's what's going to happen. You see the data centers going up now. That's only going to grow, and it's going to require a lot of electricity. And I within the next 2 to 3 years, I think we see the nuclears going up, modular nuclear reactors. And I think that the grid itself is going to be the picks and the shovels to that gold mine. So being an electrician, learning how, even just construction. I got crews out where I live every single day putting up power poles right now, right? So now there is a data center going in pretty near me. Those two things are not purely coincidental. So that's what I would say. If you're not going to learn how to, play the money video game like I do, and feel free to talk to me if you're interested, I'd look at that. I'd look at building a skill, building a trade. I worked construction for a number of years. I know how to use my hands, and I was paid rather well to do it. But I still have those skills, So, and you can use that money to catapult into other things. So that's where I look in the job market.
All right, perfect. All right, perfect. Nick, thanks for joining us, brother. I appreciate you very much. How do people follow you?
I'm over at you on YouTube's the easiest. Just /Algo Factory. YouTube @Algo Factory. That's me. That's me right there. Algo Factory Trading's the name of it. I'm also on TikTok, but the stuff on YouTube's better. I'm permanuked off of X even still, so I don't have that.
You are?
So, yeah. It's a long story.
What'd you get launched for? What'd you do?
Oh, they won't tell me.
Are you serious?
Tommy and I have a similar history.
We talked about that last time. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we like to stir the pot a bit over on X.
I like to poke the bear.
Yeah.
What bear were you poking? I mean, look, I'm like public enemy number one to the radical left. I speak my mind more than anything.
You gotta find somebody that has anything rainbow and just toss a grenade at them.
Yeah, toss a grenade at them.
You do the fagats. You do the fagats. Is that it? You do the fagats?
I do.
You like the fagats and the returns.
Me and Nick enjoy it.
Yeah,
enjoy getting at them. Yeah. And sometimes it bites you. Sometimes
it'll get you.
Like investing, though. That's that kind of makes it real. The fact this thing is real. All right, I'll be back next time, fucker.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you. So I'm not on there, and I was quite active on there, and quite frankly, it might be better that I'm off there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the YouTube's the best way. And I really appreciate you guys having me on and putting up with my super tech heavy talk. Next time, if you guys have me back, I'll try to keep it less numerical for y'all.
Now you do know that I have a couple tech companies.
You know what? I actually am aware of that, but I don't know too much about it.
I'm pretty good at that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right up his alley, Nick.
Perfect. All right. Well,
and I've been kicked off X 3 times. I keep coming back for more. But I think I've lost enough. If losing followers because you've been kicked off platforms was a thing, I would be a billionaire.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Just the same, I'm not going to work so hard at that next time.
Yeah, I probably won't. I've just finally given up on it. Be like, just whatever. It's fine. I mean, they get to pick and choose who are the winners and losers and who gets to talk and who doesn't. And it just doesn't matter what walled garden you're on. We're all the same. They all lie.
That's why I never plug any of the socials. I'm much like it's gone tomorrow. Don't worry about it. I can't bite my tongue. I'm gonna call someone a faggot. That's just what it is.
So here's a fun fact for you. We're on, I think, 27 different channels. We're on a bunch of radio stations that they just pick us up on. And there's one platform you can go to where you can figure out, what your reach is. And so you go to Listen Notes, right, which is the only aggregator of information. It used to be that they had this thing called Chartable out there, and Chartable only gave you basically the day-by-day view of Apple Podcast and Spotify. That's it. And so what I found is that all the walled gardens were garbage and that they were going to try and suppress you. So we just do a rerun over and over and over again. People are like, I can't watch your show, Joe. It's not there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just keep doing reruns. And what happens over time is that they have to sit there and they have to try and suppress you every time you do a rerun.
Huh.
So when I saw them doing it and saw what they were doing on the different platforms, I just hammered it. I would run a show, and then right after I'm done with the show, I'd run it again. I'd run it again. I'd run it again. And so you get 3, 4, 5,000 people that watch every one of the shows on each one of those aggregates. And now you're right back at your 7.5, 8 million people a month that watch your show, right? And so it's anyway, just a way to think about it is that it's all incremental, right? And so I learned that, they're going to do whatever they can to stop you from speaking, and then you have your own platform and you push people to your own platform, but then they can't ever get to you. Then you become less of a threat. Then they're like, okay, I give up.
Impressive. Impressive. I know somebody who did something pretty similar, but not quite as effective as what you did.
Well, now we were in the top 0.1% of podcasts globally, right? And so I'm competing against guys that have been on there for a long time. You can go out there and look, but that have really high numbers, and they're touted out there as the top podcasters, and yet we were able to break through it because we had a problem with advertisers. And I'm like, listen, this can't be true. And then I find out that they're just all full of shit, including the ones that say they're on our side, like Rumble, right? It's all bullshit. The whole thing's bullshit. So you just got to break it so that you're able to provide value to people. So
impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive. I wouldn't mind knowing more.
I can show you. How do you want?
That'd be awesome.
I'll put you guys in touch with
all right. First. Nick, it was great talking to you, brother. I appreciate you very much.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right, take care. God bless you.
See you guys.
Yeah, I like that guy. I like that guy a lot because he understands my pain. Understands my pain, the pain of it.
I like him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. He's really smart too. And a buddy told me what he told me because I just went and sold all my crypto. And by the way, we are not.
Bitcoin goes to 1.1 million tonight.
I called Nick. I was like, "Fuck you, Nick!
You motherfucker!
Fuck you, Nick! What'd you do to me? What'd you do that to me for, Nick? Damn it!" And then that's the whole thing. Remember what I said before? You go the up down. Just carry my losses. Just get them worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Joe, hold the line. Hold the line. No, I'm out. I'm gonna go do something else.
You see, I'm lucky. I'm just broke, and I just I don't have enough money to lose. So.
We are all broke at a different level, brother. Yeah. I mean, just so you know, there's no such thing as broke. Everybody's broke. No, I've never met a friend of mine. He's driving around in a supercar. Guy's got a $500,000 supercar, and he's asking me to pay for his gas.
Yeah,
don't talk to me. But he's the guy. He's got a Rolex on his arm that could buy my house. Nah, he's good. He's good to go. Joe, I don't have any money. Can you give me some gas? Like, how the hell did you get this car? Like food stamps? You on the WIC program? What's going on? It turns out he probably is. Yeah. Anyway, so that's everyone's broke at a different level. Just so you know, just a little happy advice.
Monetarily, I am, but I mean, I was thinking about that. I was saying that today earlier on a show. I live not far at all from my parents and my brother now. For the first time since high school, 2009. Now I can just go see them instead of it being like a big thing where I go see my mom and dad on Christmas. Now I can literally just drive over there. I've been sober 2 years. I've lost almost 50 pounds in the last year. I'm self-employed.
Yeah, you were kind of pudgy. I mean, yeah. my problem is just the cameras make me look, fatter than I am. You were really kind of getting fat there.
I was getting Michelin Man. And I look at that and I'm like,
I love giving Tommy a hard time because he's just like, shit. What? Stop talking to me, Joe. Just stop talking.
I don't care. No, my point is I'm realizing yeah, man, I have most things I want in life, almost everything I want in life. I'm nearby my family. My family's healthy. I'm self-employed. I'm sober. I've completely, reestablished a relationship with God. I'm pretty psyched. I look at all that. I'm like, if I could change anything, it would simply be to have more money. And why is that? So I could just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want a bigger place. I don't want a nicer car. If I had more money, I would literally be like, okay, now I can do the podcast longer. I would change nothing else. And I don't think I've ever been able to say that in my life before, but I would actually change nothing right now.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Really? I mean, it's I love what I do. I'm nearby family. I'm healthier than I've been. I'm more at peace than I've ever been. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, which I've never really even gotten close to before.
pretty amazing. I like that.
No, it's the only thing I would want more of is money so that I can do the exact same thing I'm doing.
I was going to make fun of you and jump in the middle of that, but it seemed like a really fun, non-funny moment. But I was going to make it funny.
Yeah,
I promise I could have made it funny.
Yeah, you could have. You could have. I don't care. Go for it.
That's good. I'm good. Can we talk about some other stuff too? Now that we know how to actually invest, which I mean, look, I got to tell you, it's going to be, man.
Now we figured it out.
I want you to hear this. I'm going to play a couple of cuts here. First one is going to play this is President Trump saying he's going to release truckloads of evidence proving the 2020 election was rigged by Democrats. I want you to see this. Play A2.
That's all they're good at cheating in elections, very good at cheating. They're professionals at cheating because we won in 2016 by a lot. The election was rigged in 2020. We have all the ammunition, all the stuff, and you'll see it come out. It's coming out in truckloads. And California's election, New York also, but California more than any other place is so rigged. It's such a rigged election. You know, we won the Hispanic vote. So a lot of people say Republican wouldn't win California, but I won the Hispanic vote. I won in Miami. Think of that. In Miami, I won the Hispanic vote. Along the Texas border, I won every single city or town touching the Texas border, and they're 85 to 90% Hispanic. We won the Hispanic vote. If the vote in California was legitimate, which it's not, they have 38 million ballots. Everything is mail-in voting. They mail out 38 million ballots, and they come in. Where the hell do they go, and where do they come from? It's a rigged election in California because we would win California by a lot. And again, they feel they have the advantage with Hispanic. They don't.
They don't have the advantage with any population, not the Chinese, not the Asian, or I should say Chinese, not the Chinese, not the Asian, not the Samoans, not the blacks, not the Hispanic. They have no advantage. If you take away the bots, you take away just the ridiculousness that we deal with every day. But now I want to show you something else, Tommy. This video is of President Trump talking about Tina Peters, the person that got access to the machines. Frankly, she was, I have my opinion on some of the people that were involved in this, and I should have my opinion of them because the truth should be heard regardless of where it takes us. Let's go and play this video. This is President Trump talking about the sleazeball in Colorado and Tina Peters.
Colorado, the poorly run state of Colorado, with a governor who's incompetent, and frankly, with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado, and he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election, 2020, along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more. But there's no doubt that America.
What are your thoughts, Tommy?
Per our talk, me and Joe Dolio a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's along these lines. It seems like, and I don't want to get my hopes up, he's moving forward to pull the Band-Aid off because it has to happen. And this is what it's going to be. And I hope he does. I hope he does.
This is a guy that let gangs run amok in Aurora, Colorado. This is a woman, by the way, I just put this up there on all the socials, that Jenna Griswold is going to prison or worse, meaning that she is going to be tried for treason and hung, or she can choose the firing squad. It's coming. Phil Weasel Weiser, the AG of Colorado, there's already a case against you for a $15 million bribery scheme, and there's plenty of whistleblowers. Phil Weiser, you're not going to be the governor of any state. You're going to prison or worse. Jared Polis, the governor of Colorado, you're just a gay dude that frankly is just a piece of trash. You have victimized the people of Colorado and walked around on your high horse while stealing their dignity, stealing their sovereignty, taking away their fundamental constitutional rights, and destroying a state in the process. You're going to prison, and you're probably going to get worse. You're probably going to get a charge for treason, and I hope you do. I hope you do. And by the way, no mercy. You have no mercy for a 70-year-old Gold Star mom that you could put inside of a jail. I don't have any mercy on you. None. You deserve to go to prison or worse. He is a weak and pathetic man. Oh. So I want to go through a few more things. I get really fired up over this. Do we have the video from the thing from Brandi Bradley? Do we have that? Yeah, can you put that up, please? Put that post up. So I want to. This is kind of an important deal. Is that in Colorado we have she's a pretty stout person. This is so we probably should talk about Josh Salem. This is important because this is the radical left. This is the radical leftists. And this guy, Josh Salem, talks about how he personally was able to circumvent and attack Representative Brandi Bradley. I was just given a voice recording where Josh Salem continues to threaten me and my family continues to attack me, a mom who has been through one of the worst situations a mother could possibly face, and he laughs and makes my life harder. People are allowed to disagree with my politics, but threaten my personal safety and the safety of my family is so vile and disgusting that I have zero words for it. This man is a Republican. He has close ties to my state party and with many other who work with me and may have yet to call out his despicable actions. This cannot continue to happen in politics. We must all take a stand against his behavior before violence happens. So take a stand, call his behavior out, and tell him to stop now. I will not tolerate this. And by the way, I'm not in a pickle. He does not scare me. He will not make me fear running for re-election. And the peace deal he's talking about is an ex post where I defended myself against him and I refused to take it down. Enough. I want to play this for you. Let's go ahead and play this really quick, and you tell me what you think. Now, this is what I say when I say that the Republicans and the Democrats are all the same. They're all the same. They all have, they're all despicable people. In Colorado Springs and in Colorado, we have people like Eli Bremer, who is a disgusting individual. We have people like Todd Watkins, another disgusting individual. We have people like Josh Salem, a disgusting individual. People, by the way, if you didn't know this, Brandi's dealing with her son that is in really bad shape. It was in a horrible accident. And they're attacking her in the middle of all of that. This is the type of people they are. They are the leftists. They just like, let me hang out on the Republican side and act like I'm a good person. Let's go ahead and play it.
There's a reason for that too, because I have another app that's really fun to do. It's called Burner. So it gives you 5 different phone numbers that play out of your own phone. It's $40 a month as an app. Burner, it's called. So then you go and you can have, I have 5 different numbers that are set in each of the 5 biggest metros in Colorado, and I can use those numbers to then access my address book and send messages and call from those numbers. So I talked to Brandi Bradley and her husband Norman, because he wouldn't chime in and run his mouth. So I sent him shit direct then. I'm like, I won't talk to your wife then. I won't talk to the boss lady. Make sure that the boss lady gets this. That's what I kept saying to him. She's in a pickle right now too, so that's good. But yeah, so you use the app, then they can trace it, and then because it's going through an app and it goes through a VPN, so you can get it. I mean, even if you want to get my signal, you can get it, but that's hard to do too.
Brandi Bradley is on the hit list too?
Oh yeah, she's gonna quit. I don't think she's gonna run for re-election.
She's had a lot on her plate.
I gave her more.
Oh boy.
Yeah, a whole lot more. She She reneged on a deal, on a peace deal that was negotiated by Hannah Goodman between me and her, and she reneged on it in June. And now she pays the piper because mercy to the guilty is a crime to the innocent.
What do you think, Tommy?
Yeah, these people are fucking evil.
He's a Republican, though.
Yeah, I know. I think it's hard for most people to imagine. Like, when I was interviewing all those doctors during the height of COVID, and it got to a point where you realize that a lot of what was happening was allowed to happen because the average person couldn't wrap their minds around it, because the average person, the average flawed human, is not evil. They mess up, they do, they're a sinner, they're blah blah blah. But you hear about stuff that's going on, and how they're making money off these shots that are giving babies heart attacks, like toddlers are getting heart attacks. And so much of what was happening was purely permissible, or if not permissible, possible, because most people very simply couldn't wrap their heads around it because they wouldn't do it. And I think that's what things like this show is. I mean, there's competition, there's aggressiveness, and then there's stuff where you hear like that. And you have to understand that a lot of people are able to do what they do because they know that the average person can assume that that's possible. Because the average person will go, well, I wouldn't do that. The average person thinks about the bad things they do, and it's like a shortcut here, a shortcut there. This is outright evil.
So tell me what we're up against right now. Tell me what we're up against when the Republicans and the Democrats both are doing the same thing.
Back to the episode me and Joe Dolio did. We're at a point where there's not a left or a right solution. There's going to be a heavy hand solution, or there's going to be unimaginable chaos and suffering. Which, I think we all said we'd pray for, and it's, hey man, I'm genuinely praying that Trump does what he has to do. Come out, show that it's all thought through.
Yeah, so I'm fairly confident that there are people that are supposed to be on our side, right? Supposedly on our side that are going to face the piper, and there are other people that are definitely going to pay the piper, and those other people paying the piper is going to be there's going to be a massive number of arrests. Now listen to me when I say this. When you steal the states in order to steal the country, and you get to a place where you have density and you do what they've done, and Soros has done what he does, and you see these RICO violations, this conspiracy to operate and act together.
It is no different than bombing us as a sovereign country. It's no different than 9/11. It's no different than, it's the same thing. It's cleaner because it's ballots and digits, and it's not, planes hitting a tower. It's the same thing, though.
But it created enough badness that the judges in every condition, we can't, if we go back on the elections being stolen 20 years, it creates a complicated issue of how many laws do we have to rescind? How far back do we have to go? And by the way, can we get rid of big pharma and their influence that we have? Can we stop the walled gardens of the technology from taking away from us what was never theirs? And can we name the names? Can we name the actual people that have done bad things to us? And can we dismantle the CIA? Can we take away their tools that they have used to steal our very sovereignty? Can we do that?
Yeah, it can be done. It's going to be topsy-turvy, but you have to do it. You have to do it. There is no more road to kick the can down.
Oh man, it's just I feel like we are just going through this thing.
We are. This isn't a normal left and right stuff. This is we're at a civilizational crossroads, and I'd rather we not be, but we are. Can't freak out about it.
I'm not freaking out about it at all.
We just got to march through it. Understand the gravity of it, but don't let it intimidate you, and just go, yeah, this is where we are. And you know what? I have faith it's going to work. I don't have any evidence, but I have faith it's going to work. And that might be delusion. I don't care.
I just found out, by the way, that Josh Salem guy is been banned from X. How about that?
Well, I've been banned from X like 7 or 8 times, so I don't really consider that much of a punishment.
Yeah, this guy's a pretty bad guy.
And
he's
banning X is not adequate.
It's not adequate. Yeah, he didn't like me. He's one of those little pricks that doesn't like me. But the fact that he was able to talk about a platform that he has called Burner, where he can call up and intimidate and threaten people, I hope Brandi actually gets to a place where she holds him accountable, has him arrested for the felonies that he committed. But these are the people that are tied to people like Eli Bremer. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Pretty crazy. All right, what else you got, man? We're at the end of the show. What other questions do we have from people? Huh?
I ain't got anything. I enjoyed that with Nick. Nick's a cool guy.
Yeah, he is. Really cool guy. You want to be the one to close us out in prayer?
Sure. I've actually been. I've been saying the prayer to Saint Michael a lot more. Like, I just always remember my grandma teaching it to us, and I hadn't said it or heard it in like 20 years. And then like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I just heard like Saint Michael the Archangel, and it was so weird how it just came out involuntarily, still word for word, still have it all. So I've actually been saying that daily. I don't know why, it just feels good. So they'll say that prayer. So in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Saint Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God Almighty, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits that prowl about the earth, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I like that one. Sounds a little hardcore.
I like it as well. All right, well, there's more for us to go through.
Hell.
There's more for us to go through, but I'm not going to do it today, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to do it today. I got to go get a bunch of stuff. I got 10 days of prayer, and guys, listen to me. I need your opinions. I want to know what you think. I mean, I want to know if you're a bad person, what you think. Because I see that Eric Coomer and his little buddies are still in the comments. I'm surprised you guys are still not in jail and not in cuffs yet. But we are headed down a pathway where, it's not just Colorado that needs good leadership. It's probably every state that needs good leadership, because the leaders at every level have been compromised. They have stopped President Trump from getting to his agenda, and the only people that seem to be making progress are these blue blood Democrats. Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy. But I think we can make progress. I think we're headed down a good path. So I will say goodbye to all of you, and I will see you on Tuesday. See you later, brother.
Joe, thank you for having me, man.
All right, take care.
Peace.
Hey, what's going on? I'm off.
Rise up untamed.
Nope. I'm off.
In the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through.